So these are my natural nails, and today I'm going to be showing you how I do my nail prep. So what I'm going to be doing first is just pushing back my cuticles with the cuticle pusher, making sure that I get all the dead skin up off of the nail plate. After I do that, I take out my Melody Susie 2-in-1 E-file and dust collector. I'm going to be putting on my Pana cuticle bit in a medium grit. It's one of my favorites actually. When I'm doing my cuticle prep with the drill bit, I tend to go right up under the cuticle fold of the skin just to make sure that all of the dead skin that I did push back, I am getting that out of there and off of the nail plate, because when you do have a really good cuticle prep, it actually leads to less lifting or even slowing the process of how the lifting would happen. With doing so, I do use very light pressure. I don't really push the drill down onto the nail as hard. And then I do this at a very, very low speed as well. Right now with the cuticle, I'm only doing it at about 4,000 RPMs because this is my natural nails. The way that my cuticles grow, they don't really grow in too bad. So I don't really have to do much work to them. I just pretty much go in there with my drill bit on all of the fingers after I've pushed them back. And just recently I've started using one of the ball bits, the Russian ball bits, to get the cuticle skin off of my nail, my cuticle, like the cuticle skin itself, I should say. I've been using the ball bits to get those off versus clipping them. In this video, you will see me clip them, but at that time, I'll talk to you about the new process that I'm using now. What I'm going to be doing now is just changing out my cuticle bit for a medium sanding band. I didn't get this one from any brand specifically that I would remember, but any medium sanding band works fine. They all pretty much have the same grit. When I do use the medium sanding band, I do follow the roundness of the cuticle. I go in like a semicircle motion. And then after I get that done, the side walls and the cuticle, I just use a straight up and down motion for the rest of the nail. I do this on an even lower speed. When I'm touching my natural nails, I'm only doing this at about 3,000 RPM. And I'm doing this pretty much just to etch the surface of the nail to make sure that I do get maximum bonding when it is time for me to apply my Apre, or when it's time to apply Polygel, your tips, acrylic, whatever option that you choose to do, or even just a gel polish manicure set. With doing this, I like to make sure that I, like as I mentioned, keep the speed really low, because nothing hurts more than being nicked by the E-file, which is an experience that I've had more than a dozen times at a nail salon. So doing nails on myself is quite easy because I'm able to be more cautious and I know exactly what's going on at all times, versus when you sit at a salon and your hands are just kind of at their free will. So I'm just going to let you guys finish watching this process and then we'll jump right into the next step afterward. this hand, what I'm actually doing on some of the nails is just making sure that I'm removing any leftover product that kind of got stuck or didn't come off when I did my soak off process. And I just kind of take it easy. I just go over it very lightly, kind of with a tickling motion, I guess you could say, just to make sure that I'm working only the product off. In the past, I have, if I could only explain, I filed my nails so thin that even to put base coat gel and stick my hand in the lamp was like severely burning my nail bed. And I made this mistake because Polygel is a soak-off nail material, nail extension. And just not knowing any better, not really doing a lot of research, I made the mistake of doing that. So if you notice, kind of towards the free edge, it's almost grown out now, but kind of towards the free edge, my nails are still very thin, as I mentioned, and a little bit damaged. So with my healthier nails now, I just make sure that I take the time to keep them as healthy as they can be. I don't do much filing on them. I know watching the video, it does seem like I'm going in a lot over and over on these same areas. However, as I mentioned, I'm doing this at a super low speed, so low it's barely even creating any dust. And I'm like just kind of lightly going over the area unless there's a portion, like even right now, I'm taking some product off of the free edge of my nail. Unless there's a section of my nail where I have to take off product, I'm almost barely touching the nail, just kind of going over very lightly. So here's the portion where I do use the cuticle nipper to clip off the dead skin of the cuticle. Now, I don't really go in too much with this, only because I don't like to nick myself or even anyone else. So what I do is I kind of just look at my nails and I only take off the parts that look really bad. As I mentioned, I did change this process where I'm not using the cuticle nipper at all. I'm actually using a Russian manicure ball bit, and with doing that, it literally buffs the cuticle right off. No nipping or anything, no cuticle scissors, cuticle nippers are even needed at all. And I really like that as well. It's also pain-free. I put it on a very high speed, about 6,000 to 7,000 RPMs, and I just lightly touch it. So this was the process that I was using before, where after I would nip my cuticles, I'll take a stone bit and just sand over the skin area to kind of get off any of that dead skin. But the ball bit, takes care of all of that now. It does all the dead skin, it does the cuticle skin, it smooths everything out, it's perfect. So that's just what you see going on now. So after I'm done dealing with my cuticles, I just take my hand file. This one is a 150 grit, and I just go right at the free edge just to make sure it's evened out. And since I am doing my nail prep to do my Apre application, I do round out the corners just a little bit, because when you are putting on the extend gel, to apply the Apre nails or the Apre Dupe nails, whichever is your preference, it does squeeze out over the sides. So I always just round out those corner parts so that this way it can kind of just flow straight over the free edge. So after you are finished with your nails, you definitely want to make sure that you dust them off. You don't want any dust left over that could get caught up in your application of whatever product that you're going to be using next. So these are my natural nails after prep. I'm going to be putting some cuticle oil on them and just rubbing that in. And there you have it. That is my nail prep.